All right, so if you've ever spent hours scrolling, looking for a new house or apartment, you've probably ended up on Zillow. I mean, it's a huge name in real estate, right? But have you ever really stopped to think about what's happening with all that data you're plugging in? Well, a digital watchdog decided to take a much closer look, and what they found ended up sparking some pretty big changes to how Zillow handles your privacy.
It's a really good question when you think about it. I mean, we pour so much of our personal lives into these apps, right? We're talking about our dream neighborhoods, how much we can afford, basically our hopes for a new home. But who's actually making sure all that sensitive info is being handled the right way?
Well, it turns out there are actually organizations whose whole job is to do exactly that. And our story really kicks off when one of them started what probably seemed like just a routine checkup on Zillow.
Okay, so meet the Digital Advertising Accountability Program, or DAP for short. The easiest way to think of them is like an independent referee for the entire digital advertising world. Their main job? Making sure companies are playing by the rules, that they're totally upfront about how they use your data, and crucially, that you get a real choice in the matter.
So DAP kicks things off by just looking at Zillow.com. But pretty quickly, what they found there, that third-party tracking stuff used for targeted ads, it made them realize they needed to zoom out and look at the whole picture.
And just like that, the investigation blew up way beyond just Zillow. It expanded to cover the whole family of Zillow Group's major brands. We're talking Trulia, StreetEasy, and HotPads. And they looked at everything, both their websites and their mobile apps.
So what exactly did this watchdog dig up? Well, they found some pretty significant gaps in how Zillow was explaining its data practices to all of us, the users. Okay, so at the very heart of this issue is something we're all super familiar with: interest-based advertising. You know the drill. You look at a pair of sneakers online one time, and suddenly ads for those exact sneakers are following you across the entire internet. Yep, that's it. DASP's whole job here was to make sure Zillow was being crystal clear about using your browsing history for exactly that purpose.
And yeah, they found some real problems. For one, those important links for ad choices were just missing on some pages. The privacy info wasn't the same across their different websites, which is confusing. Plus, some of the links that were supposed to let you opt out were actually broken. And to top it all off, they were missing some key statements saying they follow the industry's own privacy rules.
But here's where the story takes a really positive turn. Finding a problem is one thing, but actually fixing it is the important part. So let's dive into how Zillow Group responded when they got these findings.
And one of the biggest changes was actually super simple but really effective. Before all this, trying to find where to manage your ad preferences was a real pain. But afterward, Zillow added a nice, clear Ads Choices link right there in the footer of its websites. It seems like a small thing, but for transparency, it makes a huge difference.
And they didn't stop there. For all their websites, they made sure those Ad Choices links were on every footer. They also updated their main privacy notice to make the instructions way clearer. And finally, they gave a lot more detail on exactly which third-party tracking tools they were using, and more importantly, how you could opt out of them. They did the same thing for their mobile apps too. Now you can find that Ad Choices link right inside the settings menu. They also put a really prominent link to the disclosures in their privacy notice, and they even updated their App Store pages to link you directly to the info you need. It was a really thorough, comprehensive fix.
Okay, so a big company fixed some links in their privacy policy. You might be thinking, why should I care? Well, this is where we zoom out to the big picture, because this whole process says a lot about you and your data privacy.
The bottom line is pretty simple. The system actually worked. DAOAP, the watchdog, confirmed that Zillow made all the changes they needed to make, so they're now officially in line with the industry's own rules. This is basically a perfect example of accountability in action.
And the biggest takeaway here is this: transparency gives you control. It's really that simple. When companies are open and honest about what they're doing with your data, it puts the power back in your hands to manage your own digital life. So, what does this actually mean for you on a practical level? Well, it means that when you're using any of Zillow's apps, you're going to find much clearer information. You'll have way easier access to the tools that let you opt out of targeted ads, and you'll get the same privacy experience no matter which of their apps you're on. At the end of the day, it's all about giving you more power to make informed choices.
Which kind of leaves us with one final thought. Now that you know where to look for these Ad Choices links and what they actually do, are you going to take a minute to check for them on the other apps you use every single day? It's your data after all.